What's going on, good people? This is the Common Man Nate Lewis back with a brand new common take. Today is September 4th, September 5th by the time most of you listen to this. 2017 CommonManPodcast.com. Lots of news to get into today. Let's go with something that I meant to cover on my last podcast, and that is the situation with Sexy Star and Rosemary from Triple Mania almost a little bit over a week ago. So, as most of you have already know, or for those who don't know what the situation is, I'll give you a brief overview. Triple Mania is a major event that's held in Mexico. Sexy Star is probably one of the biggest names in all of women's wrestling when it comes to AAA, and I've seen it on Lucha Underground. It's a show I used to cover kind of religiously. I'll get back to that at some point. So they're having this match, and there is a video circulating online showing Sexy Star applying an armbar, and at that point, so she has this armbar in. There's a tap by Rosemary. Referee calls for the bell. Rosemary's still tapping, and at that point, Sexy Star is kind of cranking on this armbar, and the referee kind of does the thing where referees are trying to, pull someone off or just kind of wave off the match, and at some point, the referee is really pulling at Sexy Star, and at that point, Sexy Star kind of releases the hold and then immediately puts it back on. At this point, you can see Rosemary tapping physically on Sexy Star. Sexy Star cranks it a few more times. Referee finally gets her off, and that's it. And I'll put the link to the description of all this so you can see the video for yourselves on in the description of the video here, or I should say the video or podcast here, because I'm doing both. So, come to find out that Rosemary and people that are working backstage and the fans that watched thought this was a shoot, and that Sexy Star went into business for herself and was intentionally trying to harm Rosemary. And the backlash was huge. It was immediate. Wrestlers tweeting about it, saying how they should never book her again, how she was completely unprofessional. And for her part, for Sexy Star's part, we've heard a couple different versions of her story. I'm not going to read everything she released. I believe it was earlier today. But she basically comes out and she gives this long spiel about how she's always been professional, and this is the way the match was laid out, and when the referee went to go tell me to get off, I got off, and I didn't see Rosemary being hurt or being helped out in the back or any medical attention or anything like that, so she assumed she was fine, and then she's been attacked on social media here lately, and it's a whole mess. And like I said last time, I had a lot of opinions on this. I'm going to try to condense this a little bit. Now, if you read what Sexy Star put out today, just at face value, you can tell immediately it's bullshit. She says she held on to the hole with the veracity and ferocity that Sexy Star character does, and that when the end of the match came, the referee went to pull her off, and she let go of the hold. And you can look at this video and see that that's very much not the case, and that it was a little bit more to it than that. It's already there's bullshit on that front. But she also mentions that, no one came to her in the back. She assumed everything was fine, that Rosemary walked off on her own power, didn't seem to be needing medical assistance in the back, and I can't speak to that. And part of that may be true, part of it may be not. We'll never know. Now, there's a bunch of people backstage that hasn't come out to the defense of Sexy Star, and there's something to that in that regard. However, the main point is this. Pro wrestling is a work. 2 guys or 4 guys or however many guys or gals are in a match, you're there to structure a match to elicit a reaction from the fans. You are cooperating with each other to put on a performance for the fans. And a lot of that, because of what pro wrestling is, requires a lot of faith and a lot of trust in the people you're in the ring with. And whether this is a case of Sexy Star shooting, or a bunch of people looking to basically get Sexy Star, is what she's claiming. No matter what side it is, there's clearly no cooperation going on. There's clearly no trust going on, and that's bad for the business. It makes all parties look bad. It makes Sexy Star now, it makes her look terribly bad. And as it comes out, the initial reports were that Rosemary possibly suffered a broken arm or separated shoulder. Apparently it was if I remember this correctly, it was a bruised tricep and bicep, or strained bicep and tricep. So injury isn't terribly bad. So we'll have to wait. I hate to say this, we'll have to wait a little bit more as the story comes out. But public enemy number one right now is Sexy Star, and she's definitely getting a backlash on this. And going from talking Sexy Star and Triple Mania, we'll go right over to the Mae Young Classic. I just got through watching episodes 5 through 8, which consist of the second round of the tournament. I watched last week's episodes. It took me basically about 4 days and me having free time to watch the first round. As far as the second round goes, the episodes came out earlier today. I got done watching in a little less than 3 hours, just kind of chewing out some of the filter or some of the filler that you have in between with replays and things like that. I was able to kind of get it watched before I watched Raw. And some of the notes I have from the first round is pretty simple. Jazzy and Abby, from the very first episode, the main event of the first episode was absolutely phenomenal. A lot of these women I've seen for the very first time: Mia Yim, Toni Storm, all these ladies. The matches were they ranged from good to being excellent, except for one match, the Marty Bell and Rachel Evers match, which was complete shit. And I'll speak more to this when I talk about Rachel Evers' second round matchup. But I looked at that and was just like, you know what? There hasn't really been any blowaway matches at this point, or there's been, one or two up kind of to that level. But there's been no bad matches until this shit. And there's reports going around that Marty Bell was scheduled to get the win, and they changed the finish midway because Marty looked terrible. And that's the part of me that's, not really familiar with what I'm looking for in terms of a match at all times. You can easily tell when someone's carrying someone else for the most part. And you can tell when someone's doing terrible, but when they both look bad, and both Rachel and Marty both look bad, it's hard to pinpoint who exactly was the worst. But apparently it was apparent to people in charge that Marty was just unbelievably bad. And so, like I said, Shayna Baszler stood out, Mia Yim stood out, Kairi Sane, who was the big talk of this tournament going into it. I've seen the big elbow drop. There's plenty of gifs going around about that. But I was introduced to a lot of the women in this tournament, and like I said, for the first round matchups, there were some great matches, there were some okay matches, there was good matches. The Kyrie and Tessa Blanchard match, a lot of people are calling that the best match of the tournament, best match of round one easily, and it probably was just an amazing match. It made me kind of upset that we didn't get to see more Tessa Blanchard there, because I thought Tessa Blanchard looked phenomenal in the match. And they were said it on commentary. Lita and Jim Ross were saying on commentary how it was a shame that we won't see more of these two ladies because somebody had to lose, and it sucked that Tessa Blanchard lost. I thought she looked great in this match, and I hope we see her again in NXT or Raw, SmackDown going forward, because she definitely has a star presence about her. So I just want to take a couple minutes here, because I don't want to go episode by episode, match by match. I just want to point out some of my favorite matches so far in it. Really round two, because round two today was incredible. Mia Yim and Shayna Baszler, that match was so great. That match was so great. We go into this, and Mia's got a striking history, MMA background-ish type, and Shayna Baszler, obviously, with the Four Horsewomen, has been an MMA pioneer for women's MMA for years and years and years. They heard me talk about it here on this show and read my blogs. I'm a big admirer of Shayna and the Four Horsewomen. This match was tremendous. Just everything about it. Just the way Shayna moves in the ring, it makes her completely different, and Mia's got something in her that's just, it screams. You want to root for her. It makes it very easy to root for her. And after the match, you got Ronda, Jessamyn, and Marina there in the crowd. You have Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky there in the crowd, and they're kind of going back and forth. And this plays on a little bit later, but just the whole dynamic of that match. That match was tremendous. Now, I spoke about Rachel Evers earlier, and her second round match with Abby, who beat Jazzy in the first round, and then she'll go on to lose to. I realize I'm getting a lot of spoilers here, but I mean, at this point, all the details of the tournament are out, and the shows are on the network, so I'm feeling free to talk about them. She loses to Mercedes Martinez in the quarterfinal. But this match with Abby and with Rachel, now I'm not sure if I should give 100% credit to Abby or if Rachel was just a lot better than what we saw with that Marty Bell match, but this match was really good. And like I said, going into this match, I'm thinking Rachel Evers had that god awful match with Marty Bell. This match might not be the one I'm most looking forward to. This match has the potential to be the drizzling shits, and it was not. Abby's phenomenal, just tremendous. Her first round matchup with Jazzy, everybody loved Jazzy at that match, but Abby more than held her own. She did phenomenal with Rachel here. Just a really good match. I wanted to take the time to say that Paul Elleri's daughter can compete on this level. But like I said, there was to me the whole first and second round came down to Shayna and Toni Storm, who just skipping ahead. Toni Storm faced oh god, what's her name? Lacey Evans in the second round, and Lacey Evans, honest to God, to me looks like the very prototypical person that would be in WWE, tall, blonde hair, military background, just kind of everything they're looking for. Beautiful woman, everything WWE's looking for. To me, she's kind of stiff, but you know she does a great job out there. This match with Toni Storm was really good, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And that's what made me really kind of pop out and say, man, you know this Toni Storm really has something going for her. I hope that she goes pretty far. It'd be something that something that will up her profile, especially since she's 21 years old. I'm not sure if she's gonna get a contract with WWE. We're hearing rumors that so and so may have a deal or not, but this match kind of helped her. Her match with Piper, oh my God, that match with Piper in the third round. And for those, let me get something out of the way real quick. Obviously, there were some things with Piper Niven and how she looks. You know, she's not a small woman by any stretch of the imagination. There's been a bunch of comments from just tool bags. The people, yes, what those people comments are completely stupid, but don't feed trolls. I'll just leave it like that. Piper Niven's phenomenal in the ring. All her matches were fun. The girl can go. Let's just leave it like that. So that second round match, or that third round matchup, just everything about that, the spots they were doing earlier when they were doing the bridge and ended up on the top of their heads and shaking hands, just all that stuff just made the match fun. And then the big German suplex that Toni gave to Piper just blew the roof off the place. She gets the win, gets to the next round against Kairi Sane, and that match is phenomenal. Just to me, if I had to give one person MVP in this tournament, it's easily Toni Storm. And like I said, she's young, she's from Australia, she's a gorgeous woman. I am sure she is getting a contract. If not, if someone will sign her quickly. So just to wrap this up, and I might come back and do like actual episode reviews and tell you and go over everything. But if I had to tell you, hey, if you asked me, give me 3 matches to watch from the Mae Young Classic, I will tell you Shayna Baszler and Mia Yim, Toni Storm and Piper Niven, and Kairi Sane and Tessa Blanchard from the first round. You watch those 3 matches, you're guaranteed not to be disappointed. So we'll have to wait until, I believe the finals are November 12th. Kind of really strange how they're doing this whole thing with the bulk show, so you can binge watch 4 episodes. And there's some people complaining about having to try to watch these episodes quickly to catch up to the final. I mean, it can be done. There's 8 episodes. If you watch one every day and maybe watch a second one, you can get it done and you'll be able to keep up. The finals are next Tuesday. I believe they're going to be taped after SmackDown, but before 205 Live. I'm not really sure how that portion of the schedule is going, but I'm excited to see the final. I'm not going to tell you who's in the final. I'll give you a chance to watch it, but the matchup for the final is something I'm looking forward to. I was kind of wishing my girl Toni would be there, but at the end of the day, we should get an excellent match in the finals of the Mae Young Classic. So now we're going to move on to Monday Night Raw. As I said on the last show, I typically don't like doing reviews of Raw, but this one kind of kept my interest for the most part. I thought it was a pretty decent show. It opened with John Cena versus Jason Jordan. I got that alert through Bleacher Report a couple hours before the show that this was going to kick off the show. And I kind of didn't get necessarily why they were doing this match. And very quickly when the show started, they gave us the John Cena versus Kurt Angle match that happened back in 2002 and tried to draw parallels there. So, I mean, that part of it made sense. The match itself was very, very solid. Look, we know what it is when it comes to Jason Jordan gimmick on Raw. It's really not working with the Kurt Angle being the father thing. It's not. But one thing you can't knock is Jason Jordan can go in the ring. There's no doubt about it. He's more of the big spot, hot tag person, but he has his glimpse in his moments as he did in this match where he gets going, man. It's full octane, it's high energy, and it's a lot of fun to watch. He pulled off a fucking double Northern Light suplex, which was that I marked out. I jumped up out of my seat when I saw that. Good match. Led to the finish where John Cena got the AA, got the pin. And as John Cena celebrating, Roman Reigns music hits. And we get a commercial break because that's what we want to do. Roman comes back from the break. They're going back and forth. Roman is calling out Cena for not being able to finish off a rookie. He accuses him of... I almost draw this parallel to the Floyd Mayweather Conor McGregor fight, where Reigns accuses Cena of letting Jordan think he had a chance before he buried him. Which, you already know how I feel about how that went down with Mayweather and McGregor. Hearing it come from him even sounded like more dumb shit. And then when you think about the sport of pro wrestling, if this were real, sounds like dumb shit. But I digress. They go back and forth. There's jokes about Reigns' zipper being down, and Roman says it's because he's a big dog, and they go back and forth a little bit more. Let's see. I wrote a couple of notes down for this. Cena says he proves he hasn't lost a step. Roman says he can't wait till No Mercy. He's gonna put him down, and blah 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 blah. Couple little inside things, not obviously to the same levels we got last week, but there we go. I mean, they are building interest in this. Fans do seem to be getting into this. I know I'm into this now at this point. So, I mean, good job there, and we got a pretty damn good opening for it. Up next, we have Sheamus and Cesaro versus Heath Slater and Rhino. This is after another commercial break. And when we come back from the break, Rhino and Slater are already in the ring, so that's jobber entrance. Then we've got a couple jobber entrances tonight. And I don't know if this is basically because they realized they needed more time for the main event or they needed longer for the main event. I'm not sure. A lot of entrances got cut tonight, and Heath Slater and Rhino being one. You maybe could see why, because the match went I got time here for it. Match went 2 minutes, 16 seconds. Sheamus hit a bro kick on Rhino, got the pin. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were on commentary. They were fine, just kind of there. Thankfully, they weren't there long. After the match, they were kind of showing off the belt, saying, guys, come bring it, blah, 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 blah. This is fine. I know the match will be great, so nothing too much to that. Renee was backstage with Matt and Jeff. Matt's doing the wonderful and all that, so we kind of got more shots at the Broken Hardys, which, man, when they first came in at WrestleMania, and we knew they were kind of not necessarily going to do the broken gimmick right away, and Matt would give us these little teases like, oh, man, that's the first tease. Oh, man, he said wonderful. Oh, man, there's an obsolete thing. Like, you're thinking they're close, and then you hear all these reports that them and WWE and Anthem and the Hardys aren't close on something. And so Matt's just doing it now to kind of just keep fans interested. And it gets a pop every time he does it. But, man, they've got to pay it off at some point. So either do what you got to do and get it settled, or just stop doing the broken thing. Just stop. Because this is what the fans want, and if they're not going to get it anytime soon, you might as well drop it. Up next, we had Miz versus Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship. This match is good. I mean, Miz, for all people say about Miz's work, Miz can work well. When he has someone in there, he can work well with. Jeff can still go. There was some interference earlier in the match, and the Miz Taraj minus Maurice and Matt Hardy were both sent to the back. Guys go back and forth. Jeff's going up for the senton. Maurice kind of reaches in and is slapping at the hand of the Miz. Miz is able to roll out of the way. Jeff then goes for the Twist of Fate. Eats the Skull Crusher finale. Miz gets the win. Good match. Very good match. No guy's stock is going to rise or fall when you have a match this good with this amount of time. I think this match went 13 minutes. Really good match. They announced that Bliss and Sasha Banks would have a Women's Raw Championship match at No Mercy. At this point, Nia Jax walked up to Kurt Angle because Kurt Angle was being interviewed and said, "Why does she get her shot?" Emma then comes in. This stuff's bullshit. I mean, there's nothing really to this. And then for some odd reason, Nia and Emma are about to go back and forth, and Angle signs them to a tag team match where they'll be teaming up, so two partners who don't like each other, against Banks and Bliss, another tag team where the two partners don't get along. And if Nia and Emma win the match then becomes a four-way at No Mercy. If not, it stays one-on-one. So pretty obvious what's going to happen here. Up next, okay. Now I said this match was pretty good. What was not good was we had a cruiserweight six-man tag. Make sure I get everybody's name right, because some of these guys, I mean, they really do blend in together. Drew Gulak, Tony Nese, and Noam Dar in the ring. Enzo's music hits. He comes out with Cedric and Grand Metalik. To Enzo's music, so to see Grand Metalik come out to this goofy ass entrance music it kind of reminds me of the time when Kane is standing in the ring and the New Day music is just blaring, and you just have this shot of Kane and his face reacting to the New Day's music. Just something about that just is incredibly goofy. Enzo gets on the mic at first, and he's fine. And if they have Enzo come out, talk for like 15 to 20 seconds, do his catchphrase, says how he's going to beat you up, throw a couple how you doings in there, and drop the mic, I think it's fine. But the more he talks and talks and talks and talks, the boos start coming in. He's just going on and on and on. And he's trying to do comedy where he's making fun of the other guys in the ring. I think at one point he called Grand Metalik's a spicy cheese. Spicy eggs or something like that. It was just fucking weird. And he's just going on and on and on. And it makes Cedric look like a geek. It makes Grand Metalik look like a geek. It makes the guys on the ring look like a geek. At one point, it sounds like I'm really burying this, but the more I think about this segment, the more pissed off I'm getting. At one point, he runs down Tony Nese. He runs down, he ran down Nese. And who's that guy running? He ran down Nese. He ran down Noam Dar. And he's coming up with something in his head to get at Drew Gulak about. And Cedric has an idea, but as opposed to Cedric taking the mic or even just talking into the mic what it is, no, Cedric's got to whisper. He's whispering because he's not allowed to talk on the mic. And it ended up being Captain Underpants, which got a small laugh. Ha 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 ha. There's a movie coming out. Nice plug. I hope WWE's getting some money for that one. And then we get the match, and the match is great. Even with Enzo being in the match. The match is great. It's a lot of fun. There's a double dive by Alexander and Grand Metalik. Just looked awesome. The story of the match, though, was Enzo basically was being a dick. He would do some blind tags. He'd try to take all the credit. And that's kind of what we got with the finish. Right before Cedric went to go make the dive, Cedric was the legal man. Enzo hit a blind tag. They both go diving. Enzo then hits, and I tweeted this out, he hit the most vicious eye poke I've seen since John Jones. This wasn't a, hey, I'm just going to slip my thumb in your eye type of pro wrestling eye poke. This was a Hulk Hogan reaching back to throw a right hand, and instead Enzo just jammed his finger. I believe it was in Drew Gulak's eye. Hit the eat the feet, got the pin. I will say this though, just at random, I know I've seen Drew Gulak wrestle. I watched him on 205. For whatever reason, every time I hear Drew Gulak now, I picture that Gulak sounds like that phlegm that hit the back of your throat. You know, when you're sick and you got that stuff in the back of your throat and you gotta get it hawked up, you spit it out. That's kind of what Gulak sounds like. It's like I just had to spit out a Gulak. That was funny to me. I don't give a damn if it's funny to you. God damn it, I laughed when I thought about it. Y'all can kiss my ass. So we get a backstage segment. There's Banks, there's Bliss. They're talking backstage, catty stuff. Banks gets in Bliss's face, saying she's gonna make her tap out. There's not much to this, and then, oh my god, then Finn Balor comes out, and I'm like, all right, cool. We've had the SummerSlam match between you and Bray Wyatt. That feud's over. Please move on. And he talks about how the NXT Championship looked good around his waist. and how the Universal title looked good around his waist. I'm going, cool, he's wanting a shot at the Universal title. And someone's going to come out and they'll have a mini feud and give it time for... Nope, then he immediately talks about how the Intercontinental title would have been good against his waist, except one man stopped it from happening. And it's like, fuck, that's right. Bray Wyatt interfered and this feud must continue. So Bray gets up there and there's words and then it's over. Now I'm not gonna break down. I'm not gonna give the promo itself any more time. I put in the Cult of Kayfabe group that I'm completely over Bray Wyatt at this point, and I got some kind of just inquisitive things that started a conversation in the group. And since I have a platform, I'm just gonna go a little bit more into it. I think I've said it on this show before, but this post WrestleMania Bray Wyatt and John Cena, where that whole program was built around the whole world in his hands and Bray Wyatt being extra creepy. And he's gonna bring the evil out of John Cena, and they had the choir with the kids singing. Like, all that was so great. It was all so great. And we get to Mania, and Cena wins. Fine, okay, Cena wins. But then how do you follow it up? Well, Cena then wins again, and then after that, I believe is when you got the longest running feud I can ever think of. And if you're going to tell me it's Sasha Banks and Charlotte, you're completely wrong. Because I want you to go back to that year and look at fucking Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. They feuded for 12 and a half years. And that got neither one guy over. Bray started really cutting the same shit over and over and over again. And he's been like stuck on that button for the last 3 years. And it's gotten to the point, and someone brought up, oh, he had this head of steam when he won the title and the whole thing with Orton. Yeah, but we had kind of saw that with Daniel Bryan, and the Daniel Bryan one was done way better. And so yeah, you're recycling the shit he's done already, and it's the same thing. It's there's a demon, Sister Abigail says this, and the birds, and it's like he does the same fucking promo, just he kind of rotates words sometimes. I don't know, because I tune it out. And his matches are fine. And I've said it before, his matches are fine. His delivery of his promos are great. But it's the same recycled shit. And I just tune it out. And it does nothing for no one. Fucking Bray Wyatt is no bigger star or less of a star with this feud with Finn Balor. Finn Balor is no more over. Absolutely not any more over. And thankfully, because he does have this thing where on the big shows he does the body paint and he becomes the, I'm not saying Demon King, that's always going to keep him over as well. So it's just, hey, we got two guys who kind of are stars, and so we'll just put them together as placeholders because they're outside the big title picture. And it's, if that's what it is, why do you care and why do I care? I don't see a point. At this point, look, if they're going to wrestle at the pay-per-view, that's fine, but I don't need them doing promo battles every week. Have them wrestle other guys, and then maybe do a distraction, and just real quick, just quit distraction and go to the back. Or just don't do it. That'd be better if they just didn't do it. I thought SummerSlam was Finn's thing. It should have ended there. Finn became the Demon King. He conquered whatever the fuck you want to call Bray Wyatt. That should have been it. But no, this shit has to continue because you can't come up with anything else for these guys. Fuck this shit. Let me move on before I really get upset. So up next, you had the women's tag team match. Nia Jax and Emma versus Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss. I was actually, I'm not going to lie to you, and this is no disrespect on women because, you know, I just talked about the Mae Young Classic, but I'm big on women's wrestling. But I got hungry at this point, went to go make a plate. I was kind of watching the match. I saw there was, you know, both teams were teasing that they could not stand each other. The teams do not get along. And eventually got towards the end. Nia's laid out. Sasha Banks. Emma gets a hot tag, or the blind tag, goes in there, takes credit for the win. So we have a fatal four-way at No Mercy. And afterwards, Nia destroys Emma. And again, they all hate each other. Not only on top of that, man, I said the show was good. I said the show was good. It definitely had a great opening, and the main event was great. So Sasha gets pinned again, and The running joke in the Cult of Kayfabe group is buried. There's some people who think, taking a loss is a burial, and a lot of times it's not. Sometimes a loss is just supposed to prolong or add a layer to the story. And then sometimes people take, okay, they're telling the story and they try to downplay wins and losses, and sometimes it doesn't need to be downplayed at all. And one example I'm thinking of off the top of my head, I remember it really bugged me at the time. I believe this was going into WrestleMania. Was it going to WrestleMania 30? Daniel Bryan lost a match to Bray Wyatt. I believe that's what it was. And I said, what the hell? This guy's on his way somewhere or he's doing something, and then you just have him lose a match. And I was told, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Well, it ended up, it did matter. And I've seen that with Big Show. I said the same thing when the Shield was on their run and they lost a house show match. And it became big news that they lost a house show match. And I told losses don't matter. They fucking matter. They do. And here, if you want a very recent example, I just talked about Bray Wyatt and John Cena at Mania. I can talk about John Cena and Rusev at Mania too, which is another example of the wrong loss at the wrong time could really hurt you. I'm not saying this pinfall on Banks is like a deathbed burial or anything like that, but it adds to the narrative. You had a direction you were going with where you had Bayley was going in and was going to wrestle Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam. Those plans change. You give Banks 2 wins in a row, and then she now fucking turn her into the geek. She wins the title, then she loses it, and she's done that before. It's a stagnated thing that you're in. So if you really look at this match, you have this fatal 4-way. Emma's a complete joke who last week came out and won a match just so she could say she started the women's revolution, which a fact she did not bring up tonight. You have Nia Jax, who, is probably your strongest booked person out of the 4, yet we have seen her lose to Bayley. We've seen her lose. Like, all these are recent, and she's done things in that she takes a step forward and she takes a step back. She's never really broke through and become that dominant person on Raw. She just hasn't done that yet. You got Alexa Bliss, who is a champion now, but she wasn't a champion a week ago. She just lost the title. She's like a 3-time women's champion between Raw and SmackDown. So you're taking a belt off of her, putting it back on her, so she's not booked strong. And then Sasha takes the pinfall tonight. So, at the pay-per-view, Nia's got to clearly win. That's the only person that can get over winning. Cut the bullshit. Emma's not winning this match. Let's just get that out of the way. You have Sasha win a match. That women's belt means nothing. And I love Sasha. I think Sasha should be your champion right now. But her winning there makes no sense. It makes the booking of her the last few weeks make no sense. But watch they do that. Alexa winning is, I guess, fine. You can have her beating 4 women, and maybe she doesn't pin Nia, and so Nia still wants her match. But they're both heels. So it almost has to be that Nia gets the win, right? That's kind of the way you have to go. And you get that win, and you hope Bayley's ready to come back at that point, and then you have a feud. But just the booking of this, just no one looks really all that good going into this at all. If anything, I know you want to do the slime ball finish with Emma, but if anything, Nia should have destroyed both girls and got the pin, and it'd be no doubt about it. That's how you build her going into this match. I digress, though. Like I said, I did like the show. Up next, Strowman did an interview with Renee. It was good to see Renee a lot on the show. And that may be a little bit of response to something I'll get into after I review the show. But it was great seeing Renee a lot. Strowman does this big angry thing. He destroyed the ring last time. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing too special about this. Strowman's great. I like the guy. Rollins and Ambrose are getting ready to walk out for their match backstage, and they put Elias. Let me just call him Elias. I was gonna get ready to call him a Drifter just now. I will call him Elias. I still do not like this man. I don't like I just don't. I don't care what I've gotten people a lot of stuff on Twitter at me about Elias. I don't care. So he's playing the guitar backstage. Good. He didn't have a segment on the show. I'm completely fine with that. So we have that tag team match next. We have Rollins and Ambrose versus the Bullet Club, or the Club, however you want to call it. Non-title match. Fine match. This ending kind of confused me a little bit. Alright, so Sheamus and Cesaro are in the ring. They're ringside. Cesaro Goods tries to get in the ring, and Sheamus is distracting the ref. Rollins throws Carl Anderson into Sheamus. Rollins then gets the pin on Anderson with a schoolboy. You can call it off the distraction, which is one of my favorite terms that gets used on the show. That part's clear. That's great. Whatever. Post-match is where it gets funny. So the club's upset with Sheamus and Cesaro. Anderson, I think it was Anderson, hits Sheamus. Sheamus and Cesaro start brawling with Gallows and Anderson, and then they end up getting dumped out of the ring. And there's 3 teams. The champs have beaten both teams. They beat a team tonight, and you can say it's all the distraction. But look, let me not try to shit on this. I'm not gonna shit on this. If they end up making this a triple threat at No Mercy, I'm excited because this should be a fun match. So I don't care what kind of booking they use on this, and I know that contradicts a lot of stuff I say, but I like all 6 guys. So they will at least, I know, make the match work. So backstage we get more fucking Enzo. He's in there with Metalik and Anderson, and Neville comes in. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking. Neville comes in and says basically there's going to be a fatal 5-way elimination match on 205 Live with Enzo, Metalik, Cedric Alexander, Tony Nese, and Brian Kendrick. So he's telling them this and saying, hey, you guys are friends now. And the whole time I'm looking at this like, bro, why are you dressed to compete? Because we already got in the news that the main event, Braun Strowman and Big Show, was next. Why are you in gear? Why are you wet? Like, you're not competing. Like, the devil get to the building, get all dressed in his gear, got all oiled up, sprayed down his hair, put his belt on, and then go to the board and realize, I don't have a match. Oh well, I'll just stick around, oiled up, ready to go, just in case. There was no segment where he went back to talk to Kurt Angle about it. We never heard. Like, I need this explained to me. Why is he dressed to compete? He had no fucking match. And I guess it wouldn't bother me so much. I mean, if they'd have put a t-shirt on him, it wouldn't have bothered me so much. I mean, he still would have his boots and gear and tights on. But if you put a t-shirt on it, but I guess we got to see. I guess he just said, if I'm not going to have a match, let me get oiled up and wet and just walk around backstage so I look like a total fucking badass. That's not on the goddamn show. Shit just... I know, it's trivial. Goddamn it, this man's walking around wet backstage with no match. I'm sorry, that's fucking stupid to me. So up next, Charlie's interviewing John Conan, which, if that name don't sound too familiar with you, the reason he's being interviewed is the last time that Braun Strowman and Big Show were in a match was the match where Braun hit the superplex on Big Show and the ring collapsed. And I remember watching it in the group at that time. Like, when it happened, it was just like, oh shit. Like, it was better looking than the last time that they did it. But what also was cool, someone pointed out, is like, what the hell happened to the ref? He was standing in the ring. And when they started showing replays, you see this referee near the ropes. He goes to grab the ropes, takes a tumble outside, and the ring collapses. So you thinking this motherfucker dead. And what I like most about it is, John's probably been in a bunch of matches and reffing a bunch of matches that I paid no attention to. But when they did this interview, I was like, oh, he's alive. That's good to know. I wish this was. I really wish this was the first time they've used him since then, and they called into it. That's just the first time, and their first assignment was to give him this match in a cage. But that's not meant to be. John talks about how scary it was, and the ring crew told him it was double reinforced, which no one knows what that means. But when you hear it, it just means, oh shit, well, stuff's not gonna break. Cool, whatever. So we get the main event. Big Show, Braun Strowman, cage match. Like I said before, I loved this match. I remember the very first Big Show and Braun Strowman match. I believe it was, I can't remember if it was early this year or late last year. And they were kind of in the middle, I believe they were in the middle of the show. And I was pleasantly surprised because as much as I like the Big Show, Big Show's been involved in some horrible angles, and his matches aren't 5-star matches. But this is also a time where I thought Braun Strowman needed a lot more developing and a lot more time, and somehow, like, this match worked. And then they come back the second time with the ring breaking, and that match was fucking great. And then that spot happened, and that spot made Braun a badass, and Braun's been on a fucking rocket ship since then. We get this match, and no, there's no topes to the outside. There's no excellent chain wrestling. There's no Mahi Star cradles or 450 splash. This is just two big fuckers running into each other, pounding on each other, wailing on each other, throwing each other, growling and grunting. And it was so awesome. And then Big Show gets his big ass on the top rope. Now, he had done it earlier. And I made the comment that Big Show's big ass being on that top rope scares the shit out of me. Now, he's being supported by the cage itself. So he's able to put a lot of his weight on the cage. So it's not nearly as scary. Braun's out in this ring. And Big Show's on the top rope. And Big Show's looking. The crowd starts to buzz. Big Show steps over so he's evenly distributed on the top rope. And he begins to plot. And he begins to think. And I bet he has second thoughts. He's trying to stay balanced on this top rope. Even with the cage there to keep him level. You can clearly see he's nervous. The way Braun's positioned. Joe kind of has to jump to the side and drop this elbow. Which probably would be the easier thing for him. But now he's dropping an elbow. Not necessarily a splash where he can just kind of go for it. And there's a point where you think he's going to take off, and he has to stop and catch himself real quick. And at this point, the entire crowd is on his feet. I'm on the edge of my chair, and this big motherfucker, he don't just jump. He gets some height on this goddamn elbow drop. And he lays in this elbow drop. At that point, I said, this is a fucking 5-star match of the year. As much as I love Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada 1 and 2, as much as I love Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, I could keep naming Matt. This spot, Big Show's big fat ass jumping from the top rope and landing his elbow. They should replay this each and every week. It should be in the opening credit of Monday Night Raw when they show like Gorilla and John Cena and Undertaker. It should be Big Show's big fat ass mid jump delivering this elbow. Just spectacular. And then they continued. Went back and forth a little bit. Big Show is teasing, climbing over the fucking cage. And I'm thinking, man, if he can get his leg up and someone tease him going over the cage, this would be tremendous. And that was not meant to be. Strowman gets up, kind of pulls him down. And it wasn't like he pulled him down and Big Show kind of caught himself on the top rope and then Strowman Braun wrestled. Nope, Big Show slid his gravity took over and slid him all the way down to the canvas. At that point, we get the they set up another superplex spot. They hit the spot. Ring is completely fine. So you would have thought it would have got this is where I got confused. You thought this would have got a bigger reaction, but they were teasing something so big, and they kept teasing all night long. They kept teasing that the ring broke the last two times, or the last time these guys fought. And I said, you spent all night teasing that something major has to happen. And I cannot remember for the life of me who said it in a group, but someone said they're going to do something where they go through the cell door. Much like, and I think he pointed out it was Bobby Lashley and Umaga a couple of years ago, or this is way back in 2006, 2007, where for some reason fucking Lashley couldn't go over the cage. He's stuck in the cage and he wants to get out of Umaga. So he fucking launches his ass through or into the cell. That side crashes and lands right on Umaga. So he was thinking that spot. I thought, man, that'd be cool. I'm not sure how you really do that. Strowman hurts up Big Show like it's jack shit. Power slams and wins the match. Gets on the mic, says he's going to be the next Universal Champion, calling out Brock Lesnar. And then you're thinking the show's kind of done. The match is still fantastic at this point. Great match, great main event, great promo. And then Strowman picks up Big Show again. Power slam position and throws him through the cage door. And at that point, I'm just like, well, now you just gave me too damn much. You gave me too much. Big Show's big fat ass dropped an elbow. That was awesome. This match was awesome. And then you gave me a second cherry on top of this awesome main event. And thank you, WWE. I will ignore all the shit I said earlier because the opener was great and this match was great. And I was entertained for 3 hours. For the last couple shows have been really good, but this show was the one show that I was just entertained for throughout the whole duration of the show. So thank you so much for that. And that was Raw, everybody. Now, I'll try to keep all these shows underneath an hour, so I'm just going to really hit quick on a couple topics. Topic number one, it was announced earlier today, Bradshaw is leaving the SmackDown commentary team, at least full-time. And the buzz started to go around. I believe this was yesterday. Yesterday, this was when news broke. And it became the big topic of who's going to take over for JBL. And there were large petitions I've seen for a lot of people, but the biggest one I saw was Renee Young. And I liked Renee Young when she was on NXT doing commentary. To me, she shouldn't be the second chair, but she could easily be the third chair. She was a lot of fun. She had fun with it. She didn't take everything too seriously. I thought she would have been fine. I personally was hoping they bring Morrow back up and just made it Morrow and Saxton maybe. Because I thought that would have worked well. If you want to put, I don't even know what's the guy's name that's calling it now. I don't fucking care. You can put him there, but Morrow being back on SmackDown would be poetic justice, but I didn't think they were going to do that. So I saw it being Renee. Jerry Lawler would have been another possibility. I believe Meltzer said something about Nigel McGuinness, which would have been fine. It would have been different. But I could see them doing that. And at the end of the day, they just decided Corey Graves is our best announcer, or our best color guy announcer we have. Let's just put him on both shows. People love him, and he's fucking great. So that's what they're doing. So it's a little anticlimactic in that sense, but I mean, at the end of the day, if Corey's willing to do, he's going to be there anyway for 205 Live. So he might as, if he's going to work SmackDown, he's going to work SmackDown too. So more power to him for a guy who I remember watching him in his NXT days, and I wasn't the biggest fan of his as a wrestler. But this commentary transition has been so great for him, and I'm just so happy that he's doing well, having fun. The company has that much faith in him. So congratulations to Corey Graves. And just really quickly on some MMA news, even though this isn't particularly related to MMA, this news came out. I believe I tweeted this out. Maybe even posted it on the Common Man Facebook page that Mayweather and McGregor did 6.5 million pay-per-view buys. That was reported by Dana White, just kind of on a goofy Snapchat with the Tuesday Night Contender thing that they were doing. And a lot of people were just confused by this. 665, that's easily the record. And some people pointed out, well, he's maybe talking international. What's the actual U.S. thing, which is what we cared about. So we don't have final numbers yet. Let's take Dana's 6.5, and let's just say it's because Showtime announced numbers and said it's going to be that Mayweather McGregor is going to be very close and possibly beat Mayweather Pacquiao, which was 4-6. That was in the U.S. So we're just going to imagine the 4-6 or whatever is right at that for Mayweather and McGregor. So if any part of 6.5 is true, give or take 500,000 or 1 million, it also Mayweather Pacquiao overall. Now, is it going to beat the U.S. record? We'll wait and see. But Mayweather and Pacquiao did about, I can't remember the exact numbers. I looked this up earlier. I think it did a little bit over 5.2 or 5.3 million pay-per-view buys. And like I said, give or take what Dana tells you, this should easily beat that. Mayweather McGregor did much better than Mayweather Pacquiao in both Canada and in the UK. So expect the numbers to be bigger just in those two countries to kind of carry it over the top to be the most lucrative US fight, period. So congratulations to those two. You can go back and listen to my podcast where I got very deep into, I'm going to talk about that real quick. I had my reaction a couple days later, but I hadn't rewatched the fight. I actually did rewatch the fight 2 days ago. And I tried to go into it with a clear head and just really watch it because the night of the fight, they had all these yelling, talking heads around me. I don't think we'd actually sit and watch the fight. And I will say that one of the things that was very much apparent the second time watching it is that, yeah, Mayweather was definitely not trying to do jack shit in the first 3 rounds. And people say, well, things turn around in round 4. Well, Conor still won round 4. Now, Mayweather was pushing forward in round 4. Round 5, I thought, was a McGregor round also. with Floyd moving forward. Round 6 could have gone either way. Round 7 was clearly Floyd. He was clearly on the offensive. Round 8 was clearly McGregor. Round 9, McGregor hurt Mayweather. Probably the most hurt I've ever seen Mayweather. And people are saying it was a low blow. It looked clean to me, but he had time to recover because the referee was right in there to give him time to recover and admonish him for a low blow. And then we know what happened in round 10. I still think it was stopped. I thought it was stopped too early the first time I watched it. I thought it was stopped too early this time also. So that's my thoughts, updated thoughts on that. Now, UFC did have a show this past weekend. I am going to try to watch that tomorrow, and I'll come back with my thoughts on that. I heard it was a great show. There was a bunch of TKO stoppages, so we got some stoppages in that. Next week is UFC 215, and I literally was not going to talk about that, but it just popped in my head. So give me just a second here. I'm going to pull up that fight card. Now, we already know Gio Dos Santos is out of that fight, so the heavyweight fight is off. Let me pull up that here. So we have the main event, Demetrius Johnson versus Ray Borg. And I covered kind of what happened with Demetrius Johnson in this fight here. So Demetrius Johnson fighting again, defending his belt again, looking to break Anderson Silva's all-time record. You would think they'd be promoted more, but it's like I said in a tweet earlier this week. I missed Invicta 25. I still have to watch that. Ultimate Fighter. Oh shit, I even forgot about that again too. I missed the first episode of that. Just Mayweather and McGregor just completely took over a week of my life. So I have to get to it and watch that. So a lot of people have been distracted and talking about that fight and other things. This card is not getting the love it deserves. The main event should be good. The co-main, Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko. You know, I've been waiting for that fight. I'm Team Valentina. I cannot wait for this fight. And then you go down the rest of the main card. You got Neil Magny and Rafael Dos Santos at welterweight. So Rafael making the move up in weight class. That fight should be great. You have Lafayette Latif and Tyson Pedro. Light heavyweight fight. Not too many implications on that, but should be good. Especially to see Latifi back in there. Jeremy Stevens and Gilbert Melendez. Hey, look who's back. Gilbert Melendez. We'll see how that goes. That should be a barn burner. And we'll see how Gilbert comes back after that long suspension from the failed test. And then even, you know how I am. I'm always looking at the women on the card. We have Sarah McMahon, who, God bless her heart, she's one of the sweetest people ever. She just wants another shot at the title. She hasn't lost since then. This fight's not going to get her any closer to a title fight, I don't think. Especially since there's another women's bantamweight title fight on, or women's bantamweight fight on here, Sarah Moraz and Ashley Evans Smith. Excited to see that one too. So we'll see. Sarah gets a win here. She gets a definitive win. She can make another claim, but she's taking on. I don't even see a name here. Kathleen Vieira. I'm probably butchering that, but she's 8-0. I've never seen her before, but I'll get myself familiarized here shortly. Also on that card, and so the Sarah McMahon fight, prelim card on FS1, Henry Cejudo versus Wilson Hayes. That fight's on the prelims on Fox Sports 1. That should be exciting. Sarah Moraz and Ashley Evans Smith is on that Fox preliminary card. So, I mean, this card, I'll probably get more excited about it when we get towards the end of the week, and I'll be back to give predictions and things like that. So I'm excited for this card. It'll take me a few days, but I will get there. Trust me, fight fans. There's no news on the John Jones front other than the articles is available still on commonmanpodcast.com, so check for that for more of an update. No more news there. And I think I covered everything today. So let's get some plugs in. Best way to keep up with all my thoughts and everything, I was live tweeting Raw for a lot for tonight, so hit up Common Man Podcast's Twitter feed. That's at Common Man Pod, at Common Man Pod on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook, Common Man Podcast on Facebook. Join the hottest pro wrestling group in the world, Cult of Kayfabe on Facebook, MMA Droogs on Facebook, the hottest MMA group in the land. Hop in on our contest. We do predictions for all the UFC cards and the bigger Bellator cards as well. We're competing for points. The winner of the contest at the end of the year. And if you're thinking, well, I'm showing up late, we'll get you involved so you have a chance. But the winner will get a I haven't decided if I'm going to do 6 months or a 1 month. Maybe I'll do 6 months of UFC Fight Pass for free. So come join the group, check it out, have some fun. Also hit commentpodcast.com, told you about that. You can listen to this show however you're listening to it now, whether it be iTunes or SoundCloud. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. These shows will be up there. I'm slowly getting some of the older ones back up there as well. And I also have a future plan going for the YouTube page as well. That'll be coming in the next couple of months because things are about to get crazy at work. So I'm going to try to be more consistent on putting up shows. Bear with me, people. But I'll never forget you guys. I love you guys. And I have a lot of fun doing this. Thank you guys so much for listening. Peace and chicken grease.